Hi, this is a foreigner in the Philippines. Well, right now our channel it stands at about, I think, 650 videos. And those videos cover a great number of different subjects, obviously. And a lot of them are just ordinary life on our little hilltop farm. That has changed quite a bit since we found a different kind of mission. What was a simple life is no longer quite so simple, much more rewarding, but it's not so simple. But in among some of the comments that we get, I will have a suggestion that I should write a book. You know, Terence, you have a way with words. I read this story that you wrote, and I think you should write a book. Thank you, that's a great compliment that you paid me, that I should write a book simply because you've read one of my stories. So evidently I need to make it a little more clear that I am a writer and that I have 3 books. So maybe I might be accused of this being a commercial, okay? I'm guilty as charged. Now, I've written 3 books that are actually on sale on Amazon.com. I'm going to tell you the titles so that you can go and have a look, but they're under the name Terence Flannery. And they're short stories, and if you like the way that things are put, or you've read any of the short stories that are on this channel, then you may enjoy taking an ebook and having a look at some of the other things that I've written. I have about 2 books which are on the go right now. Beth is also a writer and has written 2 books which are on... Aren't those 2, Beth?
Sorry?
Aren't those 2 books on Amazon right now?
Yeah.
Yeah. They're on Amazon.com. And you can go there and you can buy them for a disgracefully low price of a few dollars. And you can download them quite easily if you have Kindle. So, what are the titles? I wrote, if you like stories about life in the Philippines, then you would probably enjoy 7 Days. And 7 Days was a story a day for 7 days in the Philippines. So every day a different story based on life in the Philippines. I also wrote another which is a more poignant, I feel, story based on my own life called The Bringer of Light. That's The Bringer of Light. And that was a story about my son and how I felt that he brought the light into my life. It was another chance, a second family. So that's a particularly meaningful story for me. And people have read that story on the channel, and people who've read that story have said, you should be a writer. Well, I am a writer. Now, the other book that I wrote was Dying Man and the $4 Coffin. And this is a little sharper edge story, or set of stories. All of these books are short stories. A long time ago, I thought maybe people don't have a lot of time for reading long books. A little gap in the transmission there. So the other book, the third book, is, as I said, has a sharper edge to it, but it's also based on some of my experiences here in the Philippines, and it's The $4 Coffin. So all of these stories, I sometimes describe myself as a teller of tall tales, some of them true. Well, all of these stories that I tell are all true to an extent, because when any writer writes, he writes what he knows. He writes from real life, and he puts in the parts that are not there in real life, in order to take it out of real time, which would be very boring, and put it into a book, into a story. Now, not everybody has this ability, and some may judge that I'm a little lacking on that as well, which I'll stand I'll stand the test of time on that. Right, so how does the idea thing work, just to explain for those who are interested? A phrase or something might pop into your head and you think, well, I could probably write a story about that. And it can start as simply as that. What some of the great Hollywood writers say, the muse. The muse visits you, places an idea into your head and tells you, hey, go with it. And you do. And if you do, then that's called inspiration. Now, lots of people who would like to be writers wait for inspiration. But of course, that won't happen, because inspiration doesn't come without being beckoned. You need to reach outside of your moment and take Muse by the hand and bring him, her, it back and say, help me. And when you do that, wonderful things happen. One of my favourite stories that I wrote and enjoyed writing the most, I also narrated, and it's called Hands Off Our Mavis. And that's harder edge and a side of life that you might not associate with me, since I am perceived as being a reserved, soft-spoken British guy. But if you remember that I'm a former professional musician, which, if you are a musician in the London scene, you are naturally a part of the underbelly of the city, and not everything that you see is nice. You see people fighting, you see people get drunk, you see all kinds of stuff, theft and robbery and all of that, and sometimes killing, though fortunately I never witnessed a killing. But I did witness some brutal fights, and I did witness a lot of other things, a lot of love, a lot of happiness, a lot of joy, a lot of pleasure. I watch people dance, I watch people dance their cares away, I watch them do all kinds of things. Also watch them get very drunk and make absolute idiots of themselves. But that was life as a musician. All of that forms a lot of what my life experience is about. So the things I write about are tinged with all kinds of other things which the narrator describes, which you might not associate with me. So that's the idea thing, and that's how that happens. So if you're interested in anything, or the tone, or how our channel is portrayed, if the kind of life that you see glorified on this channel, then have a look at my books, and I think that you will find them rewarding, and if you buy them, I would love to hear what your feelings were, how you reviewed the book. And if just remembered, if you bought the book and you read it, then you should review it. Doesn't matter whether you're right or not. You can go on there and say, I thought this stinks, or I didn't think it stinks, I thought it was very good, which obviously that's the one that I hope you'll be doing. So, just remember, I am a writer, haven't had much time to do it since Beth and I got involved in helping a lot of people, happily, but that's really what I am.